Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we talk about all news, comics, and media related to the Transformers. On this episode, Skybound's Energon Universe comic reprints continue to print money. There's more guest announcements for TFcon LA, and we get a tidbit of info on Keegan-Michael Key's Bumblebee voice in Transformers 1 coming next year. Today is Friday, December 22nd, 2023, and this is episode 369 of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that can't wait to try out a new karaoke song at this year's Christmas party. I'm your host Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Jeremy, aka Yakko.
Hey, how's it going?
And Diet Coke fan Daryl, the Cybertronian Beast.
Oh, I thought I was muted. Hi, everybody. That was a wet one. Let's talk Transformers.
As always, we start the show by thanking our donatrons, those lovely people who support us on Patreon and PayPal. Thank you all so much for continuing to help us out and support the show. We really appreciate it. And thank you for letting us continue to do this week to week. If you are not a donatron and would like to become one, just go to transmissionspodcast.com/support, and that's where you can sign up. Of course, one of the perks of being a donatron is you get access to all our bonus content on our Patreon page, part of which is our bonus show, We Like Big Bots. There's 10 episodes of We Like Big Bots already available. And now this week, Wonder of Wonders, episode 11 is out. And it's already there right now for you to watch. So check it out. Daryl and Dr. Pants finally found each other in this wide world. They were able to record again. They sat down. They did it. They couldn't do it in person when they were actually in person earlier this year. They met up in person. They didn't record a Big Bots then, but they finally did now. So,
but didn't you meet up in person twice? Because once at TFcon and once you were near him.
Yes,
that's true. Yes. He came to Canada, right? So, and then. Yeah, we were going to talk about doing it there, and and then I was in Pennsylvania for work and met up with him on the drive home, I think it was, and then it just didn't work out. So yeah, it's just, what are you going to do, right?
But it did work out now, so it's there.
It is done.
So check out the latest episode of We Like Big Bots featuring the biggest bad in the Transformers universe, Megatron. So,
yeah, we decided we were going to go a little crazy with the start of season 2. We are officially calling it season 2 now. It's just, it's been long enough. So, this is prestige. This is prestige content. So, it's been long enough. And it's, we thought we'd go a little crazy, and we went nuts with talking about Megatron, and it was fun. We had a good time.
Awesome. And for everyone who is not on the Donatron, not a Patreon, on our Patreon, and you were curious, if you're curious about We Like Big Bots, we've been talking about it for a long time. You're going to get a special bonus for Christmas week. So next week, we won't have a regular Transmissions show for the toy show. We're going to show you one of our We Like Big Bots episodes. So you can check out what Daryl and Dr. Pants do for that show and see if you like it. And maybe that'll encourage you to check out the Patreon. So stay tuned for that next week. All right. Of course, we still have our Transformers Live Play RPG podcast, Empire of Rust. And the side story, the Rustford Files, is continuing on. So episode 7 of the Rustford Files, Brave New Junk, is up right now, so you can get that at transmissionspodcast.com/rust. And there will be a few more episodes of the Rustford Files before we switch back to season 3 of Empire of Rust. So continue to listen to that. And yeah, of course, it's the same players, different characters for the side story. And it's very fun. We've got a new game master with Matt, who is usually plays the character of Magnum and Pythagoras in regular Empire of Rust, but now he's running the show. And Mike, who is usually the game master, is now a character playing. I believe it's Latins is the character's name. So you can check that out. And we've still got our exclusive Skybound Transformers #1 comic featuring the artwork of EJ Sue on the cover. You can buy that at our website, transmissionspodcast.com/comic. And yeah, you can order that directly from there and we will ship it directly to you. And if you are looking to buy any labels from toyhacks.com, use our code Santa Prime for 15% off your order at Toy Hacks. And yeah, if you want to get any labels, just use that code. Everything you buy will be 15% off. You can use it multiple times, as many times as you like. It will work, I believe, up until December 31st. So you can even use it after Christmas if you still want to get some labels. So take advantage of that. Okay, let's get into the show and start off with some comics news. All right, Skybound is continuing with the craziness of its multiple printings of Energon Universe comics. Void Rivals #1 is getting a sixth printing. And that will be art by Dylan Burnett. Void Rivals #6 is getting a second printing, and that will have art by Jason Howard. And Transformers 1 through 3 are getting multiple additional printings now. Transformers #1 is getting a fourth printing with art by Clayton Henry on the cover. Transformers #2 is getting a third printing with art by Gerald Perrell and Frederick Pham Trong. And I believe looks like this is a connecting cover for the third printing. And Transformers #3 is getting two second printing variants, one by Jason or both by Jason Howard. So yeah.
So I was wondering, has this surpassed the Dreamwave, like when its #1 went so big and like had been the most, like the I guess most sold Transformers comic ever?
I believe it has. I believe its first print run did that, because like the Dreamwave comic back in the day what was that, 2002? It was like in around like 150,000 copies or something like that. I believe that's the number that was quoted for the original orders for Transformers comics. And if they're continuing to make all these additional printings, that means they're selling out. So I mean, I think at the retailer level, I mean,
it's just insane. Like,
yeah,
I know there's a discussion that's been going on, and that this Transformers #1 may in fact be the biggest selling book of 2023.
Wow. And it's only been, the last few months of the year.
Yeah.
Which is kind of insane. So yeah, it's been really well received. It didn't hurt that the thing had, 35 variant covers, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's been ridiculous how well Transformers #1 has done, right? Like the regular retail cover is just like it had 156,000 orders, right? Which right there beats 99% of every comic that comes out in that particular week. So that likely put it at #1 for its release day, right? And then it just continues to sell in, over and over again. And none of that includes any of the variant covers that were sold as well, right? So like it's ridiculous how well this book has sold. And yeah, like nuts, absolutely nuts how well this is done. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to think what comes next for this. I know there's a lot of people out there in the collecting world that really like multiple printings now, because the mindset is that for every additional printing, they print less and less and less of them. So
they're more rare.
So yeah, like Void Rivals for a 6th printing is, I don't know how many they're printing of them, but like this should be very few of these. So it's a cover with a very, very low print run. So they think it's a very rare collectible. But the first appearance in these books it's been done, right? Like, I mean, the first printing is the sought after one. And then you've got the multiple iterations of printings, that precede it to get to the 6th one. But they want the low print count is what they're after, right? With a 6th printing. So yeah, that's the new age of comic collecting is this multiple printings are sought after.
Yeah, I can't imagine going for a 6th printing of anything. Like, I don't need the 6th printing of a comic if I wanted to get that comic.
Yeah.
But
I do, however, like these second printings that are character focused. You got them on the screen, right?
Yeah.
If I were, thinking about it and knew that this was happening, I'd actually be chasing these, because that's kind of have, in your collection. Oh, you've got these multiple printings. Yeah, but they're different. Each cover focuses on a different character. So
yeah, I mean, if you were going to get them just to kind of display them or something, having like a wall of that would be really cool.
Oh yeah, it'd be very cool. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, or the 5 Faces of Darkness Void Rivals one with all the 5 Quintesson covers.
Yeah.
So. All right, last little bit of comics news. We do have solicitations from Skybound for March of 2024. So we've got 2 comics coming out in March of 2024: Transformers number 6 and Void Rivals number 7. I won't mention any story details there, but you can imagine, Transformers number 6 is going to be the end of its first arc, and Void Rivals number 7 is the start of the second arc. So, we're looking forward to that in March. And that's all the comics news. So let's move on to media news.
All right. So we've got a new mouse pad, and this is from Icon Heroes, and this is they're calling it the Transformers Where Brooklyn At gaming mouse pad. It's a big mouse pad, I guess. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Enormous. And it's their officially licensed Transformers merchandise featuring Optimus and Megatron. They're taking orders for this. It's $38, and it's kind of cool. It looks all like graffitied, and then you've got some graffiti art of Optimus and Megatron. Looks neat. I mean, honestly, I would consider getting it for my desk, just simply because my desk is glass, and using an optical mouse on a glass desk doesn't work. So you have to have a mouse pad.
my mouse pad, I have one of these desk mats. It's just a plain gray, but yeah, it's where my keyboard and everything is on it. And it's nice because I like when I'm recording and I have a drink and I set it down, it kind of muffles the noise.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a nice surface just to kind of have my mouse on. The
mouse pad that I've been using for years is a Monster Cables mouse pad. It says the need for speed. And this is what I've been using for a very long time, like 20 years.
Gold-plated mouse pad, like their cables?
Yeah. Yep. It's I can't remember. I got this probably in a like a swag bag or something like that when I attended an electronics convention years ago. But yeah, it was very cool. So I've just kept using it because I'm not buying a mouse pad. Ridiculous. But I may buy this one if I can see it.
And $30 is about the price for a mouse pad of the size that we see in the picture here. That it looks.
This thing's huge.
Yeah,
massive.
Looks like 2.5 feet long.
Yeah, the story doesn't tell us the size of this thing, but the thing is massive.
I mean, it looks like it covers a whole desk, so it's
It says $38, but I just went and clicked on the thing, and it says it says it's $52 now. So
Canadian exchange rate.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's noticed where I'm coming from, but it is. Yeah. It says the size here is 36 by 18, or 91.4 centimeters by 45.7 centimeters. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a big surface.
I think that's the Canadian price, Darrow, because I'm seeing 38.
Oh, are you? Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Cool. Just clicked on the rest of they have other ones too. Like that's just the one that they're talking about here. There's a bunch of other ones on their website. If you don't want to use that Optimus and Megatron one, they have a bunch of other ones. Some box art from Combiner Wars. They have G1 box art. They're all the same price.
I mean, if you were going to get one, I would get one of the G1 box art.
I mean, yeah. Come on.
I mean,
really.
Oh, lots of different characters focused here.
Yeah, man. Like there's some really good ones on here.
Power Master Optimus Prime. These are all
Blaster. Yeah.
Please excuse us while we all browse their site and forget about podcasting.
Yeah. No, there's lots to choose from on here. Yeah. This is a lot of Marcelo Matera art.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it's all licensed, so it's made with the permission of Hasbro. But it's odd to have Marcelo's art on here.
They still have some of the convention exclusives that they've had in previous years.
Okay, cool. Right on. Anyway, so if you're interested in getting a ginormous mouse pad for gaming, or if you have a glass desk, then this might be something for you. Up next, we are talking about one of my I'm going to go and say this is my favorite song from Transformers the 86 movie. This is the karaoke version, though, of Instruments of Destruction by N.R.G. And so it's if you wanted to sing along with Instruments of Destruction, or that Instruments of Destruction, then you've got yourself a karaoke version here. And I think we all know the words.
Yeah. We're not playing the sound because we don't want to get a copyright strike on YouTube.
Yeah. Instruments of Destruction. I can't hit those high notes anymore. That's
far enough away that YouTube will not recognize that as a song, as the real song.
Yeah.
No. All right. Up next, we are going to go to Hollywood, and this is a Collider interview with Keegan-Michael Key, and where he discusses his interview or his time in doing the voice of Bumblebee for Transformers 1. Now, this is just a clip from an interview that he's doing press for Migration. This is the new animated movie he's in with Awkwafina, and that is who he's sitting with in the interview. But so they talk about doing a couple different projects, and then the interviewer asks him about Transformers 1 and being the voice of Bumblebee. And are we going to play a bit of this, Jeremy?
Yeah, we're just going to play that Bumblebee part.
All right, go ahead.
Playing Bumblebee, it's funny, not a lot of affectation to my voice. The director of this just wanted, he goes, I really want your voice. I just want Keegan's voice. So it's kind of Keegan as Bumblebee. And you'll see, it's interesting. It's unlike this where I'm working in a dialect or I'm doing something with like Super Mario Brothers where I'm really trying to disguise my voice. This one's, I'm bringing a lot of me to it.
Right on. So, we know from him doing the voice in Super Mario Brothers that he can actually be a pretty good voice actor. He can change his voice up fairly well. Something that's a bit of a pet.
I was hoping for the Barack Obama anger translator from Key and Peele. That would be a good voice for Bumblebee. You could be the Orion Pax anger translator.
Right. I don't know that skit. I'll have to watch that one. But the one of my pet peeves with big budget animated movies is when they bring in these actors and they just let them talk in their normal voice, and that drives me nuts. And to hear him say that the director just said, we just want to hear, your normal voice, that kind of sticks in my craw. I'm like, I don't want to hear Keegan-Michael Key. I want to hear a Bumblebee voice. So give me a Bumblebee voice. I don't want to hear the voices coming out of the characters and say, oh, that's Keegan-Michael Key. That's Scarlett Johansson. That's, Chris Hemsworth. That's, all the other characters.
I mean,
right?
No one really wants an Australian sounding Orion Pax.
I don't think he's going to. Yeah. Right. I think he's going to do an American accent. But the fact is that that's something that drives me nuts. Yeah. Is being able to pick out the character, like the voice actors when I can hear them. And frankly, in Super Mario Brothers, I had no idea who he was doing. It was done very, very well. Yeah, he was so totally he can do it.
Yeah.
But I mean, going back to the 86 Transformers movie, right? Knowing what I know now, I still can't hear Leonard Nimoy in Galvatron. Like, I'm still knowing Leonard Nimoy, who he was and the character that he portrayed in Transformers the movie, and talking as Spock and whatever and doing all the other stuff he did. I still can't hear Leonard Nimoy as Galvatron, right? So either I've been brainwashed to only hear Galvatron when I'm watching that movie, right? I can hear nothing but Unsolved Mysteries when I hear Ultra Magnus. Like that's
yeah. Like I mean, he was doing more of his own voice.
It's just his own voice, right? Which, granted, is an amazing voice, right? But there is no way he was hiding that, right?
I mean, when I read Ultra Magnus, I hear Unsolved Mysteries.
It's nuts, right? Like it's crazy. But
like Eric Idle as Wreck-Gar, I mean, I don't really hear Eric Idle.
I don't hear Eric Idle either, right? I don't hear any of that, right? So there are actors, there are big name actors who can come in to do voice work and can really do a good job of it, right? Now we say that, and you have Judd Nelson, which I was not a fan of Judd Nelson in the 80s, right? He was big, but he's made appearances and done movies now, and I still don't hear Hot Rod. But again, he's older now, and I can't hear it. But I really need to watch The Breakfast Club and stuff like that. I've never honestly seen it. They've always just been like girl movies to me, and I've never been interested, and they've always just kind of passed me by.
Maybe
anyway,
a nice movie to watch with your daughter this break.
Maybe it won't be.
I did watch The Breakfast Club just recently, a couple months ago, and you can't. Judd Nelson's voice does not sound like Hot Rod, and
you don't hear it. Okay, all right.
Not really.
So I mean, maybe he's got the ability to do it too, right?
Yeah, I mean, and Daryl, I think this it depend. I think it depends on the actor, depends on the voice, depends also on their delivery. Like you can do it in your regular voice, but if you deliver it in a different way, it can it can have the right impact. I mean, Dan
Right.
Gilvezan, you when you talk to him in person, and when you hear Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends and Bumblebee, that's just Dan Gilvezan. That's not
Just the same voice.
that's
Yeah.
it's not any different, but it's still good. That both of those roles are good. They're distinct roles that he does. Um, to go to your point though, Casey Kasem as Cliffjumper, you can't hear Casey Kasem in Cliffjumper at all. He that's a completely different voice and affect
Mhm.
from the top 40 DJ. And all same with Shaggy on Scooby Doo. Like Shaggy on Scooby
That's
Doo
very unique.
does not sound anything like Casey Kasem's regular voice. So yeah, it's we'll see when it comes out next year. But
Yeah.
I think I can see like Keegan-Michael Key having his normal voice, but putting some heft behind it to. Because I mean he's a giant robot. He's not just some dude off
Not
the
so
street.
giant.
So
He's Bumblebee.
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, I'm hoping for it. I am a little worried about some of the other actors as well, just because they don't normally do a lot of voice work, right?
Yeah.
I know
Yeah,
Scarlett Johansson did an entire movie where she was a voice, but it was her voice, right?
Yeah.
And it was a good movie. That movie, Her, I think it was just called Her.
Yeah,
It's fantastic, right? But it was just her voice, right?
Mm.
So, but I'm very curious to see what happens with some of these voices, because they're huge name actors, but I really don't want to go into this movie and notice and have them be pulled out of it because of it, right? We can use Mario Brothers as an example. Chris Pratt is he's a great actor. He's funny, but he doesn't seem to be able to change his voice when he's voice acting. It's the same voice for everything he does, right? And
and you get used to that, because that Mario movie made $1 billion, so you're going to hear Chris Pratt as Mario in a lot of future movies.
Yep.
Well, another just recently with Transformers Earthspark, you had Danny Pudi as Bumblebee in that show, doing just his regular voice, because that's clearly Abed. If you listen to if you watch Earthspark and you've watched Community, you can hear Abed in Bumblebee pretty clearly. But I think he still does a good job. Although with Optimus Prime and Alan Tudyk, I don't hear Alan Tudyk at all.
No,
in
Alan Tudyk's very good. Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
I think Bumblebee, it helps because Bumblebee is not a main character in that show. He's more of like he's a secondary character, right? He helps push the story along, but he is definitely not the main character on that show. So there are some big name actors that can come in, and I mean Danny Pudi, he's big, and he's big enough, right? But he's one of those guys that I think is definitely doing a little bit more voice work. But yeah, anyway, I digress. This has gone on far enough, I think, but it's one of those things that I think we're going to find out when we start seeing trailers and stuff like that, or some of the other actors start talking about their voices for the movie. But I'm very curious to see what they do. And I'm dying to see a trailer for this movie.
Yeah.
Really.
You think maybe it'll be a Super Bowl trailer? Super Bowl is like
when's the movie coming out? Is it June?
October.
Oh, then no way.
No.
Yeah, no way. That's too far off. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know when we'll see one. Super Bowl would be good, but that's really far away. Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna close out media news with one last thing, and that is, if you were on social media,
go off on a downer note.
if we were on social media at all this week, then you probably heard that there are going to be some layoffs over at Hasbro. They are looking to cut about 20% of their workforce over the next year. sometime in 2024. They never really posted any kind of date, which is always kind of great if you work for Hasbro. This is coming out of the Rhode Island office, so the fact that office has got that many people is crazy.
Well, it's the Providence office. Well, they're closing their Providence office and moving everyone to Pawtucket, but the layoffs are worldwide.
Oh, okay. Right. We did know that they were closing that office. So yeah. I did hear something about a lot of the people affected might be in the Dungeons and Dragons sector. I mean, the layoffs the article that you're showing is saying that it's because of weak toy sales, which have been happening a lot in the last number of years. Toy sales have been declining for a long time because of video games. But this article also says about 900 employees. Now, we had heard, or I had read, that it was going to be about 1,100.
That's what I had heard too.
A discrepancy of about 200 people, which is, it's a pretty big number.
I think the article does like in the article it says 900 to 1,100. So they're
okay.
They're hedging their estimates there.
Gotcha. Okay. Well,
the total layoffs are going to be 1,900, and I think that includes the ones that they did at the beginning of 2023.
Right. Yeah, I mean, this sucks for the people that work at Hasbro, especially in those offices that are affected. I mean, weren't we hearing that the Hasbro office was going to move to the West Coast anyway, eventually?
I haven't heard that.
That was years ago that we heard that. So,
well, I think that was partially related to the whole movie stuff, but now they've sold off E1.
Right.
So maybe that piece moved. Everyone that when we see any Transformers stuff, they're all in Rhode Island.
Yeah. What do you guys think is I mean, what could be something that could help turn this around? I mean, it's if it is toy sales, right? Like, we've seen it and we've commented on it a lot, that the toy pricing has gotten out of control, and they have gone almost to the point where it's almost multiple toy increases or price increases a year, right? If not at least once a year, they go up, right? And it's almost like right now, I think it's like deluxes are the price of what leader class were when I first got back into the hobby, right? Like it's way too expensive. And yeah, you can say inflation and all this other stuff and all that kind of thing, but none of our paychecks have gone up that much. So, I mean, what do you guys think is something here that might be able to help?
I mean, price definitely plays a big role, but also distribution. I mean, on the collector side, how many of us have been looking for figures and we just never find it? But then, like, you'll be finding it all over the place in Canada.
Yeah.
Or the other way around, or just someone on the West Coast might see it and it never makes it to the East Coast. I think that they really need to figure out their distribution a little bit better. And I think they're moving back to the, some of the figures are going to have the window boxes with plastic in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I think going to the totally concealed boxes hurt them. And then just the open windows. Also, you had so much like damage.
Yeah.
So, but it's a new world. Kids aren't really playing with toys the same way as they used to.
No.
Yeah. I mean, I think, and I think it's still the case. I mean, I think it's still the case, or well, I haven't seen, but I mean, in the past, they've always said that the collector market is a tiny fraction compared to the regular kids market, who the kids who actually buy and play with toys, like parents buy and play the toy and have their kids play with the toys. So I think if any solutions focused on the collector market are probably not going to fix the issue. They've got to figure out a way to get kids interested more in toys than they have been. I mean, and I don't know if there are any good answers for that in the days of everyone having a smartphone.
Well, I mean, one thing, like, I haven't seen much kids TV outside of things on, like, Netflix or streaming where there's no commercials, but my kid will just sit there and watch YouTube on Nerf for hours. And these are just regular YouTubers that have a Nerf channel. Hasbro needs to start working with the people that are creating content where the kids are watching and advertise and maybe do more sponsorship, or just, I don't know. I don't know the last time I saw a Transformers commercial when I was watching something that had commercials, like Earthspark or something like that. I haven't seen like a Transformers toy commercial in a long time, and you need to advertise, do promotions where the kids are watching, so they will bug their parents to buy whatever toy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
What about lessening the amount of figures released? So if we were talking about Transformers, because that's what the show's about, we're looking at a line of 12 figures. If they reduced it to 8, then you should be able to save by a third, right? So your budget should be able to be reduced. You can do more intricate designs and spread out releasing, put more emphasis on distribution, because I know people here in North America were furious when they found out that Ireland was getting truckfuls of Cosmos and they were just shelf forming because everyone bought theirs and they just sat there on the shelves. And why did Ireland get Cosmos? Who knows? Nobody knows. But they got a bunch of them. But, if all the lines that Hasbro does, I mean, look at, we're not business people here. Charles is the closest. He's got a doctorate. So
that doctorate has no relevance towards economics or business.
It's it's good. You got some skills. But you've got so we really don't know what we're talking about. But if you're trying to save money, instead of putting out more shit, maybe reduce the amount of crap you put on the out in the world, and put out some better stuff. But less is more, kind of thing, right? Like, do we really need all those soap bottle things? Like, those are garbage.
A lot of those are just licensing deals, though. So that's just money coming into Hasbro.
I mean, again, I think this is Daryl. That's the collector in you thinking. I think you have to think of the mass market, like those really cheap Transformers figures that you get in the dollar store. Those are for kids. Those are for a parent who can't really afford to get a super expensive toy. You see that in the dollar store, you're going to pick that up for your kid.
Yeah.
And that'll be some kid's first Transformer. I mean, I think they need to figure. I mean, I think what you said at the beginning about price points is really important. I mean, I think maybe currently the thinking in Hasbro is, well, costs are going up, so our prices need to go up, and they're pricing their toys out of the hands of the the kids and parents who would be able to afford them.
Mm-hmm.
And if they lowered the prices and lowered their profit margin a little bit, maybe that would, bring it back where they'd get increased sales, and that, that would even things out. Again, this is just me speculating. I have no idea what their profit margins are, so I don't know how much room they have to change their prices. But yeah, I mean, like 10 years ago, deluxes were $15. Now they're, close to $30.
And they were also bigger. That's
Yeah.
another fear is,
Yeah.
are they going to keep
Not
making them smaller?
Yeah.
And not as hollow. They were not as hollow. So yeah, I mean, so I think price is a big issue in your price. Like, this is the same thing with comics. Comic books are $4 and $5 a book. That prices kids out of the market. Kids are not collecting comic books anymore because they're too expensive for kids. Like, a kid will spend that money on, Roblox skins or whatever,
Yeah.
rather than buying comic books. So I think it really, they need to figure out how to capture the kid market again. Like, stop the kid market from shrinking and get it growing again if they want to turn this around.
I mean, my kid recently got like a $100 Amazon gift card for something, and he spent it on a game for the Switch instead of any kind of toy, Pokemon or anything. And I guarantee he's going to get much more enjoyment out of that Switch game over anything else because he's going to spend so much more time on it.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. They have the kids. I look at my daughter, and she's 14, and she grew up with very little toy interaction. She didn't want it. She wanted to play on her tablet, and when she got a computer, she wanted to play on her computer, and now she wants to play on her cell phone. And I don't know, did they lose the tactile, interaction? My son is playing with toys right now because he's 2 and doesn't know any better, but I assume is once he gets his hands on a tablet or something like that, he's gonna be done with toys.
Yeah. Like I said in the trips to the store this week, not this one, but my kid picked up my Studio Series Perceptor and just, he immediately transformed it. And, so skills are there, the interest is there to play with it. But, if I wasn't a collector, this wouldn't be in the house. And I only bought it because it was a 2-pack for, $16.99 for the 2 figures.
Yeah.
Price.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, Hasbro, call us up. We got some ideas. If you want to brainstorm,
or if you want to sponsor the podcast, we'll do advertising.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that's all for media news. So I guess we will finish up the show with convention news.
All right. We have a couple TFcon announcements. This is for TFcon Los Angeles, which is March 8th through 10th, 2024. And the first person is Melody Britt. She was the voice of Alana in Transformers G1. More people will probably recognize her as the voice of She-Ra in Masters of the Universe and She-Ra back in the 80s. So I feel like that's a very iconic voice. I can't really remember Alana like that voice, but She-Ra just is very iconic.
They sounded the same.
Okay, well then that's good. It's a very iconic voice.
Yeah.
The next announcement is probably more well-known voice, and that is Greg Berger the voice of Grimlock, as well as Skyfire, Long Haul, and Outback in G1. And he's no stranger to TFcon. He's been to many of them. And it's great to see him coming back to TFcon. And I think that is all the announcements we have this week.
Yeah, I watched something with Greg Berger in it today with my son. I watched the Garfield Christmas special.
Oh, yeah.
And got Odie.
Yeah, he's longtime voice actor for Odie.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So awesome. That is all we have for convention news.
All right. Well, that takes us to the end of this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode. As always, at the end of every episode, we give a shout out to our Masterpiece Donatrions. These are the folks who continue to support the podcast at our highest level on Patreon, and that's why we give them a shout out in every episode. So thank you to John Forex Levingood and Demon Tech 82. We really appreciate your support. And we appreciate everyone watching and listening to Transmissions Alt Mode this week. As I said, this is our last regular show before the holiday break. We'll be back in 2024, but of course, stay tuned. We've got some other stuff coming up in the middle as we go to the break. But look forward to an alt mode next week. We will have a review of Duke #1 from Skybound, since that will be out next week. So look forward to our review there. And we will continue to have some fun and continue to talk Transformers in 2024. So see you later, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Later.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Transmissions. If you'd like to join the conversation, travel to our Discord channel at transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. Want some cool transmission swag? Feast your eyes on our transmissions gear at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. If you'd like to support our podcast, go to transmissionspodcast.com/support or tell your friends about our show. We'll see you next time.